Matthew Perry walked onto the Friends set every morning for 10 years. Millions watched him make people laugh as Chandler Bing. But nobody knew the truth. He was high during every single episode. Season 3 was the worst. He was taking 55 pills a day and weighed just 128 pounds. His teeth fell out while eating toast. Yet somehow, he never missed a day of filming. The cast had no idea what was happening. Until Jennifer Aniston said 5 words that changed everything. What she told him backstage will shock you. Matthew Langford Perry was born on August 19, 1969, in Williamstown, Massachusetts. But his life didn't stay quiet for long. His father, John Bennett Perry, was already an actor, and his mother, Suzanne Morrison, was rising fast in Canadian politics. In 1966, she had been crowned Miss Canadian University Snow Queen. Just a few months before giving birth, she became press secretary to Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau. So when baby Matthew cried in their home in Ottawa, his mother was dealing with cabinet meetings, media chaos, and national headlines. The marriage between John and Suzanne didn't last long. They split in 1970, just before Matthew turned 1. It was the start of a life defined by distance, pressure, and the desperate need to be noticed. By age 5, Matthew was already flying alone between his mom's home in Canada and his dad's place in Los Angeles. He was an unaccompanied minor not just on planes, but in life. When Suzanne remarried in 1981 to journalist Keith Morrison, Matthew's world changed again. New siblings came fast. Caitlin was born in 1981, Emily in 1985, Will in 1987, and Madeline in 1989. His father remarried too, to Debbie Boyle, and they had a daughter, Maria, in 1986. In just 8 years, Matthew went from being an only child to having 5 half-siblings on 2 sides. Keith would later describe their household as a mix you couldn't recreate by hand, with Matthew always at the center, but never fully belonging. He loved his siblings but felt invisible. He later said their arrivals only deepened the hole he already carried inside him. That same year, at age 10, something inside Matthew cracked. He started stealing money from his mother's purse to buy cigarettes. He was attending Rockcliffe Park Public School in Ottawa, but his grades collapsed and his anger grew. He beat up classmates and started to isolate himself. That anger kept building until one day, he and a friend beat up another student. The boy's name was Justin Trudeau. Matthew later admitted it wasn't about anything deep. Trudeau was good at sports, and Matthew hated that. The fight was pure jealousy. The strange twist was that Trudeau's father, Pierre, was Suzanne's boss. Years later, when Justin became Prime Minister, he joked on Twitter about a rematch. But Matthew turned it down, saying he couldn't fight someone with an actual army. While his home life spun in circles, Matthew found one thing that gave him structure: tennis. He started at age 4, and by 13 he was ranked number 2 in Ottawa. He hit the court 10 hours a day. Some said he reached number 17 in junior singles and number 3 in doubles nationally. Scouts watched. He trained hard. Keith drove him to matches and watched him play with obsession. But one match in Los Angeles ended everything. Matthew got crushed. He said the look on his family's face afterward told him they were disappointed. That loss broke something in him. The dream was gone. So he pivoted. In 1984, at 15, he moved to Los Angeles to live full-time with his father. John Bennett Perry was known nationally for Old Spice commercials. At school, Matthew was the Old Spice guy's son. He enrolled at Buckley School in Sherman Oaks, a private prep school his father paid for. He joined theater and landed lead roles, even getting praise from actress Patty Duke. A director staged The Elephant Man just for him. But Matthew dropped out to take a film role in A Night in the Life of Jimmy Reardon with River Phoenix. He was just 18. At the same time, he joined LA Connection, an improv group in Sherman Oaks. His quick timing and sarcasm made him stand out immediately. But offstage, the alcohol had already started. At 14, he had his first drink, Budweiser and Baby Duck wine. By 18, he was drinking every day. It wasn't for fun. It was to silence the noise inside. The drinking later became vodka, Vicodin, Xanax, OxyContin, but never heroin. Acting auditions and substance use blended into one messy escape route. He wanted to feel better. He wanted to be seen. But nothing worked. He had small acting roles in Charles in Charge, Silver Spoons, and The Tracy Ullman Show. In 1987, at 18, he got his first starring role in Second Chance, a show with a strange time travel plot. It got rebranded as Boys Will Be Boys, but lasted just one season. On set, Matthew felt alone. In his memoir, he said he felt like that unaccompanied minor again, floating through rooms, pretending to belong. His family didn't know how to help. His father once told him after a school play that he was good enough to worry about, half proud, half threatened. His mother, still working long hours, told him to keep a journal, but he felt more distant than ever. His siblings clapped for him at school plays, but he felt like a guest in their lives. He started stealing again. He kept smoking. He kept drinking. In 1988, he landed a bigger role in Just the 10 of Us, a spin-off from Growing Pains. He played a frat boy named Moose, loud, cocky, chasing girls, but Matthew gave the character something extra. Beneath the jokes was pain, and casting directors noticed. In Who's the Boss, he played another sharp-tongued teen and started ad-libbing lines about broken families, lines that weren't in the script but were pulled straight from his own childhood. He later said he learned early that jokes could calm his overwhelmed mother. Then came the role that would haunt him. In 1989, on Growing Pains, he played Sandy, the boyfriend of Carol Seaver. Sandy drinks and drives, crashes his car, and dies suddenly from internal bleeding. It was one of the most powerful moments in sitcom history. And while it was fiction, it hit close to home. At the time of filming, Matthew was already drinking. He was just 18. The next year, on Beverly Hills 90210, Matthew had his first major panic attack. On set, his body shook. He thought he was dying. He was scared, but he didn't tell anyone. That anxiety would stay with him forever. Decades later, during the Friends reunion, he told the cast that he felt like he was going to die before every taping. Lisa Kudrow was stunned. She said he never told them. In 1993, he landed another lead role, Home Free. He played a reporter living at home whose life gets upended when his sister and her kids move in. It premiered on March 31st and got solid ratings at first, but critics destroyed it. One called it a living hell. Ratings dropped by episode 2. The show was canceled after just 5 episodes. 11 were filmed. Only 11 aired. It was his third failed sitcom. He was 23, and everything felt like it was slipping away again. In 1994, Matthew Perry had nothing. His manager told him he had no money, and the only role he had was in a failed sci-fi pilot where he played a baggage handler in the year 2194. He was desperate, scared, and nearly broke when the script for a new show came into his hands. It was called Friends Like Us back then. He read just a few lines, and something inside him shifted. He later said it felt like the character of Chandler jumped off the page, shook his hand, and said, "This is you, man." He didn't just think he could play the part. He believed he was Chandler. He knew it so deeply that he started calling his agents every few days, begging for a chance to read. But he wasn't even allowed to audition because of his commitment to that other show. So he waited. rehearsing Chandler's lines with friends who were going to their auditions instead. He ran the scenes so many times, helping others prepare, that he memorized every word. When the sci-fi show fell apart and he was finally free, he walked into the Friends audition with nothing in his hands because he didn't need the script. He knew every beat. The casting team had already gone through 1,000 actors and narrowed it to 75 finalists. When Perry walked in near the end, he landed the role within a week. He was the last of the 6 to be cast. His friend Craig Bierko had turned it down for a different show called Best Friends, and that mistake opened the door. 3 weeks before the audition, Perry had gotten on his knees and prayed for fame. He said that prayer was answered, but what no one knew was that even in those early moments, he was already in pain. He had been drinking before the show even started. He later admitted he would come to work hungover, sometimes shaking, but he had a strange rule for himself. He wouldn't drink while actually on set. That rule didn't stop the damage. He said the happiness lasted only 8 months. After that, everything started to hurt. He had what millions of people dreamed about, but it felt empty. He called it a lonely time. He was already addicted to alcohol. He just didn't look like it yet. When the show began, all 6 actors earned $22,500 per episode. They were mostly unknown, and the pay was equal. But as season 2 started, David Schwimmer and Jennifer Aniston became breakout stars. Their romance on screen pulled in millions of viewers. The network offered them more money, but Schwimmer did something no one expected. He walked into Perry's dressing room and said, "When we renegotiate, we do it together. We all get paid the same." Perry couldn't believe it. Schwimmer had all the leverage and gave it away to protect the group. The decision stuck. By season 3, they were all earning $75,000 per episode. By seasons 9 and 10, it was $1 million per episode. Perry later joked that he owed David Schwimmer about $30 million. Right before the show aired on September 22, 1994, the director James Burrows flew all 6 actors to Las Vegas. He gave them each $100 to gamble and told them to enjoy their last days of anonymity. They drank, wandered the casinos, and bonded fast. Matt LeBlanc said they all came with open minds and tried hard to connect. It worked. Their chemistry became the heart of the show. But Perry's addiction didn't pause for success. In 1997, 3 years into Friends, he had a jet ski accident. Doctors prescribed Vicodin. It changed everything. He started taking 20 to 30 pills a day and added a quart of vodka on top. His body couldn't take it. He checked into rehab in 1997 at Hazelden in Minnesota. It was his first stay, but not his last. By season 2, the show was pulling in 32 million viewers. The Super Bowl episode in January 1996 hit 52.9 million. Perry was improvising classic lines that writers started building around. In one episode, when Joey asked when was 1990, Perry answered, "You have to stop the Q-tip when there's resistance." It was completely off the cuff and became one of his favorites. But behind the comedy, his body was changing. Fans started to notice. His weight dropped. His face thinned out. By season 3, he was just 128 pounds. That was the year he was taking up to 55 Vicodin pills every single day. In the beach episode that aired in 1997, you can see it. His body looks frail, his eyes sunken. He checked into rehab again that year, but came back to finish filming right after. In season 4, he flew to London for the wedding episodes. He and Matt LeBlanc weren't allowed to talk to the press, but they were the stars now. Perry ad-libbed many of Chandler's one-liners, and the writers let some of them stay. He was on fire. His timing, his delivery, his face, all of it made Chandler unforgettable. But no one saw how bad his pain had gotten. He was hiding it well, but the addiction kept growing. He started faking injuries to get more pills. Sometimes he even went to open houses and stole prescription bottles. He said people never suspected Chandler would do that. In 2000, between seasons 5 and 6, Perry's body finally collapsed. He was rushed to Cedars-Sinai with pancreatitis caused by alcohol. He was still earning $750,000 an episode, but he was spending over $200,000 on therapy. That year, he directed his first Friends episode, the one with the joke. It aired on January 13, 2000. His weight was down to 145 pounds. He arrived at 5 a.m. every day just to sit in makeup and hide the damage. But somehow, he got his only Emmy nomination in 2002. The season 7 finale in May 2001 was watched by 30.1 million people. Chandler and Monica got married. Perry wore the tux. But in between takes, his hands were shaking. He vomited twice. He was in full withdrawal. When the director called Rehab, Perry's sober companion walked him straight to a truck waiting outside the studio. They drove him directly to Malibu Rehab. He was still in costume. He weighed just 128 pounds. The network thought he had the flu. Lisa Kudrow called it the saddest celebration party they ever had. By season 8, Jennifer Aniston had noticed his voice was slurring. During one shoot, he messed up 14 takes in a row. On October 22, 2002, during a coffee break, she pulled him aside and said, "We can smell the alcohol on you." It wasn't a joke. The whole cast got together and told him they'd walk if he didn't get help. He entered outpatient rehab, but didn't stop filming. He went to AA meetings at 6 a.m. before his call times at 7:30. He never missed a day in 10 seasons. Not once. Season 9 was different. Perry was finally sober for the full year. From July 2003 to May 2004, he stayed clean. He requested the adoption storyline for Chandler and Monica because it mirrored what he was going through, trying to build something good out of a broken past. On his 35th birthday, August 19, 2003, he celebrated 1 year sober on set with a mocktail party. His weight was back to 172 pounds. He attended 90 ore tile meetings in 90 days. He even bought a sober living house in Malibu and donated it quietly to help others. He said that was the only season he truly remembered enjoying being Chandler Bing. The finale aired on May 6, 2004, to 52.5 million viewers. It was the 4th most-watched series finale ever. Chandler set his apartment keys down at 7:42 p.m. Perry remembered that exact time. It haunted him. Just 72 hours after they wrapped filming, he relapsed. He tried heroin for the first time. He was in his $20 million mansion. He injected twice. Then he called his sponsor. Doctors said it was laced with fentanyl. He was 10 minutes from death when they got him to Cedars-Sinai. He quit opioids after that, but the damage was done. While his character walked into a happy life with marriage and twins, Perry was alone, thinking about ending his own. He made more movies after Friends, but most of them failed. The Whole 10 Yards lost millions. Serving Sarah shut down for 2 months while he went to rehab. Birds of America went nowhere. His last real hit was 17 Again in 2009, which made $139 million. After that, he mostly disappeared from theaters. He tried TV again with Mr. Sunshine in 2011. The ratings collapsed. The show was canceled. Behind the scenes, he was having panic attacks. He couldn't hold it together. On February 11, 2016, Matthew Perry stepped onto the stage at London's Playhouse Theatre for something he had written himself. It was called The End of Longing, a dark comedy that didn't go to Broadway like he'd first hoped, but still sold over 62,000 tickets and made more than $2 million in London's West End. He played Jack, a broken alcoholic photographer trying to fall in love with an escort. And it wasn't just acting. Jack was him. He said things on stage that no one had heard out loud from him before, like how alcohol had ruined his body, even causing erectile dysfunction. The monologues made people go silent. They weren't just watching a play. They were watching a man bleed the truth in front of them. When the show moved off Broadway in New York on June 5, 2017, with Jennifer Aniston joining the cast, it didn't go well. Critics didn't like it. It closed on July 1st, but Perry didn't care. He had said what he needed to say. 4 years earlier, on August 8, 2012, he had tried something lighter, a network comeback. NBC gave him a shot with Go On, where he played Ryan King, a sports radio host forced into grief counseling after his wife died. It looked like a hit at first. The Olympics had just ended, and 16.1 million people watched the preview. It was the highest-rated comedy premiere NBC had in that slot. On September 11th, 9.6 million tuned in for the real launch. Perry brought back his Chandler sarcasm, but with something heavier beneath it. NBC ordered 22 episodes right away, but the ratings dropped. The final episode on April 11, 2013, only got 2.67 million views. A month later, NBC canceled it. Perry had come back, and then he was gone again. He tried everything. He even lent his voice to The Simpsons for their Halloween episode on November 6, 2001. It had been delayed by the World Series. In the segment called House of Wax, Perry didn't play a horse like rumors said. He voiced one of the options for a creepy smart house system. Pierce Brosnan and Dennis Miller did too. It was a parody of 2001, A Space Odyssey. The episode made Fox #1 that night. Brosnan got the praise. Perry blended into the machine, but he didn't care. He just wanted to work. In 2015, he tried again. The Odd Couple reboot. He played Oscar Madison, messy as ever, next to Thomas Lennon as Felix. The show ran for 3 seasons, 38 episodes. It was the 7th time someone had remade the 1965 play. CBS gave it one more try. Perry didn't just star, he also helped create and produce it. Season 3 launched on October 17, 2016. It ended on January 30, 2017. CBS canceled it in May, not because of bad writing, just to make room on the schedule. It became his most stable TV role since Friends. But even then, it didn't last. In 2021, HBO Max aired Friends, The Reunion. Everyone came back. And then Matthew dropped a bomb. He talked about 2018, when he was 49, when his colon exploded from years of opioid abuse. He was rushed into surgery and put in a coma for 2 weeks. The doctors gave him a 2% chance of surviving. They hooked him up to an ECMO machine, the kind that keeps your heart and lungs working when your body won't. He survived. But he spent 5 months in the hospital and had to wear a colostomy bag for 9 months. On camera, he lifted his shirt and showed the scar. The audience went quiet. Chandler Bing was gone. This was Matthew Perry, and he was barely alive. During the 3rd season of Friends, he was swallowing 55 Vicodin pills a day. He weighed 128 pounds. His teeth fell out one morning while eating peanut butter toast. He scooped them up and carried them to the dentist in a plastic bag. He wrote all of this down in his memoir, Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing. It came out in November 2022. By then, he had spent $9 million trying to get sober. He had gone to rehab 15 times. But it never stopped. Because addiction doesn't care if you're famous. In 2018, when his colon burst, the pain got worse. He needed surgery after surgery. One of them happened in Switzerland. They gave him propofol. His heart stopped for 5 minutes. A technician did CPR, broke 8 ribs, but saved his life. He'd go on to have 14 stomach surgeries. The colostomy bag failed 55 times, but somehow he kept waking up, even when he didn't want to. He detoxed 65 times by the time he turned 49. He tried ketamine in rehab, then tried it illegally. Once, he mixed it with alcohol and blacked out. Woke up in a hospital. Didn't even know how he got there. Season 9 of Friends was the only one where he was fully sober. That was also the only season he got nominated for an Emmy. He said that should have told him something. Alcohol made it worse. It gave him erectile dysfunction. His first time trying to have sex, he drank 6 beers and couldn't do it. The shame stayed with him for years. He thought sex was for other people. It ruined relationships, even the one with Julia Roberts. They dated after she guest starred on Friends in 1996. He broke it off, afraid she'd dump him first. On New Year's Eve in Taos, New Mexico, with her, he had a moment he never forgot. He later called it his Groundhog Day moment, the one night he wished he could live again. In 2004, his Friends castmates confronted him. Jennifer Aniston told him, "We can smell it." She used "we." That broke him. He had just gotten over having feelings for her. She was with Brad Pitt, and now she was telling him he smelled like drugs. Perry had even experimented with heroin, but said he never got hooked. He said the word junkie scared him. Maybe that fear saved him. He stayed alive while others like Chris Farley didn't. In 2022, when his memoir came out, it sold 96,000 copies right away. Then he died, and it sold 2.5 million, a 2,504% jump. He had told Diane Sawyer that he wanted to help people, that if he was remembered, he hoped it wouldn't be for Friends. He wanted to be remembered for saving lives. Days after his death, his team launched the Matthew Perry Foundation. It used the book as a blueprint. His team, his manager Doug, his publicist Lisa, and his business manager Lisa started funding small recovery programs. They wanted to finish what he couldn't. He had been engaged to Molly Hurwitz. She was 29. They had started dating in 2018 and got engaged in November 2020. He called her the greatest woman on earth. But in June 2021, they broke up. Later, he admitted he had proposed while high on hydrocodone. After that, he threw himself into pickleball, played 5 times a week. His coach said he loved it, said it helped him stay clean. On October 28, 2023, he played a 2-hour match, then went home. 1 week earlier, on October 21st, he'd been seen leaving the Apple Pan in West LA. Smiling, relaxed, it would be his last public photo. Later that day, his assistant, Kenneth Iwamasa, found him dead in the hot tub. The autopsy said it was ketamine and drowning. The ketamine level was sky high, far more than what's used for treatment. His last legal ketamine therapy had been a week and a half earlier, but ketamine doesn't last that long in the body. Something was wrong. In August 2024, 5 people were charged. Kenneth, who had no medical license but had given Matthew 27 doses in 5 days. 2 doctors, a dealer called the Ketamine Queen, and a man named Eric Fleming. One doctor had texted, "I wonder how much this moron will pay." 3 people pled guilty. One faces life in prison. Another faces 120 years.